Greetings all, and welcome to the 16th episode of the V.T.P, or the Veteran Trainer's Perspective. Today, we are going to be taking one last look at research updates on the Galar region connected to videos already covered on this channel, including the Galarian Slowpoke family, the Galarian Legendary Birds, and the new additions to the Legendary Titans. So let's get to work right away. First, let's take a look at some of the unique regional variants that have been newly studied in the Galar region, starting with the Galarian Slowpoke family.
In the Galar region, Galarian Slowpoke, known as the Dopey Pokémon, are pure psychic types, have distinct patches of yellow flesh on their head and the end of their tail, can possess the Gluttony ability in place of Oblivious, and have access to an acid attack in place of their water gun attack. Much like their contemporaries, these creatures spend much of their time outside, lolling about along shores and not doing much with their time. However, these variants are unique in that they were once known to feed on the seeds of the Galarica plant as a primary source of nutrition, and this has notably changed the way they behave and operate in battle. On the downside, the seeds of this plant have a spicy flavor to them and are popular cooking ingredients because of it, and while this means that the fluid that leaks from their tails is also spicy from the accumulated Galarica particles in their bloodstream, this has not only cooked their insides over time to the point of eliminating their water-type attributes almost entirely, but also makes their tail fluid too much for Shoulder to normally handle, effectively making it impossible for them to evolve under normal circumstances. On the upside though, this actually stimulates their minds to the point where they may occasionally show a sudden sharpness in their intellect, gaze, and movements, though they will return to normal shortly afterwards. These moments of incredible thought only last a few moments before they are forgotten entirely, so they can't really do much more than their normal counterparts, but the fact that their seeds have made their saliva acidic enough to allow them to use an acid attack can give them some minor versatility, though trainers will have to make use of a rare Galarica Cuff or Galarica Wreath if they really wish to help bring the most out of their unique power to the forefront in combat.
From here, let's move on to Galarian Slowbro, the Hermit Crab Pokémon.
In the Galar region, these creatures are poison psychic types, show a slight decrease in their base special defense stat and a moderate decrease in their base defense stat in exchange for a considerable increase in their base attack stat, resulting in them having above average base HP attack and defense stats for a fully evolved psychic type Pokémon, as well as above average base stats for all of the above, and base special attack for a fully evolved poison type Pokémon. Have distinct patches of purple flesh on their heads and the ends of their arms, with the left arm being encircled by the mutated shell of a shrunken Shellder, can possess the Quick Draw ability in place of Oblivious, and have access to an acid attack in place of their water gun attack. Unlike their normal contemporaries, because of the spicy Galarica particles that flow through their bloodstream, these creatures normally cannot evolve as Galarian Slowpoke. However, when they are wearing a Galarica Cuff, the combination of spicy and sweet flavors is too enticing for Shoulder to not latch onto their arms.
The fluids that seep from Shoulder combine with the Galarica particles in a chemical reaction to mutate these creatures and allow them to evolve into Galarian Slowbro, and the fluid mixture created in this process makes the blood and internal liquids of these beasts poisonous, in turn rendering them partial poison types.
In this state, the hands of these creatures have a solid hold on the tongues of their Shoulder companions, and this makes the creatures a little mad, causing them to occasionally bite down hard on their host. When this happens, it creates an itch that irritates Galarian Slowbro so much that they will begin to swing their arm around wildly, indiscriminately smashing their surroundings and rendering them far more dangerous than their normal counterparts. Moreover, because of the Galarica particles now stimulating both parties, these creatures will sometimes have the stimulants in their body activate and go into overdrive. This creates a shocking jolt to their nervous system and, for a few moments, sharpens their expression as they will attack with speed that puts even Pokémon with the quickest of reflexes to shame, which acts as fuel for the signature Quick Draw ability that enables them to move before the opposition about 30% of the time, even if they otherwise would move after them. In these moments, or whenever they feel like it, this will also result in them often pulling on the tongues of their Shoulder partners, which angers and irritates the creatures into firing a blast of toxic liquid from the tip of their shell, either at range or through forceful contact. This is their signature Shell Sidearm attack, which they acquire immediately after evolving, a potent move that will actually deal damage to the opposition based on whichever of the defensive stats is the weakest, allowing the attack to target the biggest weak points of an opponent and as a whole, make these otherwise dopey looking creatures a serious force to contend with in combat.
Next, let's take a look at Galarian Slowking, the Hexpert Pokémon.
These creatures are also poison psychic types, show a slight decrease in the base attack stat in exchange for a slight increase in the base special attack stat, resulting in them having above average base HP and special defense stats and average base special attack for a fully evolved psychic type Pokemon, as well as above average base stats for all of the above and base special attack for a fully evolved poison type Pokemon. Have a distinct light and dark violet striped collar and a darker purple shell on their head that encompasses all but their lower jaw, the shell's eyes having eyelash marks on the lower sides with a bright green gem on their forehead and a pair of horns on either side that spew poison. Possess the Curious Medicine ability as a possible ability instead of Oblivious, and have access to an acid attack instead of Water Gun. In the Galar region, Slowpoke do not react the way they normally would to King's Rocks, and in fact, don't like the feel of them all that much, but they are attracted to the smell and feel of Galarica wreaths, which they will gladly wear on their heads. The smell and flavor of these materials are attractive to Shelter as much as King's Rocks, and will often trigger them to bite down on the heads of Galarian Slowpoke wearing these wreaths.
Much as with the standard method of evolution, the combination of Shelter biting down into the bodies of these beasts and having their internal fluids mix with the blood of the target results in the creation of a toxin that enables them to evolve.
However, the spices that are uniquely in the blood of Galarian Slowpoke result in a different mutation altogether, as the massive boost in intelligence seen in the species normally goes not to the Slowpoke, but the Shelter attached to them, creating Galarian Slowking. As with Galarian Slowbro, the unique mixture of chemicals that is formed from evolution makes these beasts partial poison types, with toxic liquid frequently leaking out through horns in the base of the Shelter's body that also serves as the base of their signature Curious Medicine ability, which resets the stat changes of all nearby partner Pokémon in battle to 0 when one of these beasts enters into a multi-Pokémon battle. However, this is not the true special nature of these creatures. Instead, what really defines the odd nature of these beasts is that they communicate with each other by uttering strange incantations and tend to chant mysterious spells of some kind when they use moves in battle. It is uncertain currently what these spells and incantations mean or what is even being said, but at the very least it is noted that this serves as the base for the unique Eerie Spell Attack, a move they acquire immediately after evolving that can only deal decent damage but also make it hard for opponents to retaliate against, as it drains power points from their moves. This as a whole helps to make these oddly intelligent creatures a noticeable threat in battle, even if the Slowpoke that is a part of this union is little more than a puppet to the whims of the Shelter attached to them.
From the Galarian Slowpoke family, let's next look at the legendary birds of the Galar region, starting with Galarian Articuno, the cruel Pokémon.
In this state, these creatures are psychic flying types, show a moderate decrease in the base defense stat and a considerable decrease in the base special defense stat, in exchange for a slight increase in the base speed stat and a considerable increase in the base special attack stat, resulting in them having above average base HP, special attack, special defense, and speed stats for a fully evolved psychic type Pokemon, and only having below average base attack for a fully evolved flying type Pokemon. Have a distinct purple color to their feathers with white fringe, dark purple tail feathers, and a mask of black feathers around their slit-like blue eyes. Possess the competitive ability as their only ability instead of pressure, and have access to the Psycho Shift, Confusion, Hypnosis, Psycho Cut, Recover, Freezing Glare, Dream Eater, Future Sight, and Trick Room moves instead of the Mist, Powder Snow, Ice Shard, Freeze Dry, Roost, Ice Beam, Hail, Blizzard, and Share Cold moves. While they only ever make migratory trips to the Crown Tundra of the Galar region every couple of decades, this variation of the legendary Pokemon Articuno has been turned cold and callous by excessive exposure to Galar particles ingested through the fruits of the massive Dyna tree located on the southern edge of the Crown Tundra. These birds move around in a fairly refined manner, using their uniquely developed psychic powers to not only fly through the air without ever having to flap their wings, but also equally to create illusions to taunt pursuers and attack ferociously with in battle. The psychic power of these creatures acts directly on the cells of living organisms, using psychic energy to immobilize their opponents, particularly through their Freezing Glare attack, in which they fire psychic energy beams from their eyes to deal damage and effectively freeze their target in place and thus earn their namesake, before swooping down and finishing them off with feather-like blades of psychic energy that can cut through iron sheets like they were paper. These cold and cruel birds get a kick out of making the lives of others miserable in any way that they can, and in turn are feared among those unlucky enough to encounter them by accident without some sort of powerful dark type on their team to counteract their otherwise cruel psychic attacks.
Up next, let's examine Galarian Zapdos, the strong legs Pokemon.
In the Galar region, these creatures are fighting flying types, show a critical decrease in the base special attack stat in exchange for a slight increase in the base defense stat and a critical increase in the base attack stat, resulting in them having only below average base special attack for a fully evolved flying type Pokemon, and no base stats below average for a fully evolved fighting type Pokemon, have a distinct orange and black color to their feathers with yellow eyes, small almost useless wings, and massive black muscular legs with 4 large yellow talons in each foot, 3 in the front and 1 on the back for stability, possess the Defiant ability as the only ability instead of Pressure, and have access to the Focus Energy, Rock Smash, Brick Break, Quick Guard, Thunderous Kick, Bulk Up, Counter, Close Combat, and Reversal moves instead of the Thunder Wave, Thunder Shock, Charge, Roost, Discharge, Rain Dance, Thunder, Magnetic Flux, and Zap Cannon moves. While they only ever make migratory trips to the Crown Tundra of the Galar region every couple of decades, this variation of the legendary Pokemon Zapdos has been turned belligerent and battle-hungry by excessive exposure to Galar particles ingested through the fruits of the massive Dynatree located in the southern edge of the Crown Tundra. These birds are unable to fly because their wings have atrophied, but this has happened due to them adapting to life on the ground and have the powerful legs needed to make a statement on that matter. When running at speeds of up to 180 miles per hour in a zigzagging motion and leaping down cliffs and rocky mountainsides, these creatures are said to resemble bolts of lightning, and the powerful legs that support this motion are able to deliver blows to anything that tries to attack them strong enough to pulverize dump trucks, as seen in their signature Thunderous Kick attack, which is forceful enough to lower the defense stat of anything it strikes every time it successfully lands. Galarian Zapdos might still be able to produce a crackling noise from static electricity generated by rubbing their feathers together and acquire their name from such capacity, but they are all about offensive fighting power and can be very difficult to catch without forcing them to run to the point of exhaustion, and in turn are not beasts worth underestimating under any circumstances.
Lastly, let's take a look at Galarian Moltres, the malevolent Pokemon.
In the Galar region, these creatures are dark flying types, show a moderate decrease in the base attack stat and a considerable decrease in the base special attack stat in exchange for a critical increase in the base special defense stat, resulting in them only having below average base attack and speed stats for a fully evolved flying type Pokemon and only below average base attack for a fully evolved dark type Pokemon, have a distinct black color to their feathers with magenta aura flames, face, chest parts, and legs, and a slightly curved beak, possess the Berserk ability as the only ability instead of Pressure, and have access to the Payback, Sucker Punch, After You, Fiery Wrath, Nasty Plot, and Memento moves instead of the Ember, Incinerate, Roost, Heat Wave, Sunny Day, and Burn Up moves. While they too only ever make migratory trips to the Crown Tundra of the Galar region every couple of decades, this variation of the legendary Pokemon Moltres has been turned haughty yet calm in their demeanor by excessive exposure to Galar particles ingested through the fruits of the massive Dynatree located in the southern edge of the Crown Tundra. These birds do not have the capacity to produce flames anymore from their bodies, but compensate for this by generating a powerful dark aura around them from the energy churning inside of them that sears anything that gets too close to them as if they were on fire, even taking on the appearance of flames to the naked eye. This makes it impossible for normal Pokemon to even remotely get close to them, and these birds take advantage of this by spreading their wings wide and unleashing this wicked aura upon those that get in their way, hitting them with such deep fatigue that it feels as if all of their energy has been burned away. In the worst of cases, this can result in these creatures burning away the spirit of those they target, consuming it and leaving their victim a burned-out shadow of their former selves. This sinister aura is what helps to classify these beasts as Moltres, and when used as part of their signature Fiery Wrath attack, a powerful move that has a good chance of making opponents flinch if used before them, it can make these birds a severe menace to have to deal with, and not a creature anyone wants to run into without the utmost protection on their side.
With the regional variants covered, let's end this report by taking a look at the 2 new additions to the legendary Titans, Regieleki, the Electron Pokemon, and Regidrago, the Dragon Orb Pokemon.
Regieleki have a body that is mainly comprised of electrical energy with a thin piezoelectric rubber composite that forms the main internal base and the covering for their arms, being rather flexible and generating electrical current when flexed. The inside of their form contains a single major organ that generates electricity, upon which the 7 pink eyes are attached. The points where the arms and single foot connect are marked by a series of blue insulation coils which serve to control the flow of electricity being emitted by their bodies and in turn prevents them from utilizing their full power. Regidrago, on the other hand, have bodies that are comprised of magenta, crystallized draconic energy with a series of 7 blue eyes in their front and a pair of small feet, though these feet are rarely used as the creatures are able to float in the air at all times because of the excessive amount of energy their bodies radiate. Their feet are capped with dark grey stone, with the arms being made of the same material, chiseled into the shape of the head and lower jaw of a Charizard. While their bodies generally remain in their traditional forward-facing form, they can alter their form to transform into the head of a Charizard in order to use attacks. Regieleki consists of a single massive organ that generates electricity by not just absorbing electrons in the air, but, more importantly, through an ancient nuclear reactor whose energy forces are converted into electrical energy through a special transistor system in the core of their form, producing a seemingly infinite amount of electrical energy at all times. This generator is unprotected in order to allow them to make the most of their electrical powers, and they thus lack the notable defensive powers seen in many of their brethren. But they make up for this by using the electrical energy they generate to accelerate their bodily movements to unbelievable levels, zipping their small, albeit still heavy forms around at deceptive speeds. With electricity consisting of the majority of their body form, save for the thin piezoelectric rubber composite shell that covers their more delicate parts, these automatons pack the strongest attacks of nearly any electric-type Pokémon, and this all comes down to the signature ability, Transistor, which amplifies their electrical output and gives them a massive 50% damage boost to their electric-type attacks, in turn rendering them a terrible threat that only ground-type Pokémon are completely protected against. With this power, these machines could generate all the electrical energy needed to run entire regions on their own, even the Galar region, and are capable of using their powers to generate massive cages of electrical energy that can zap and continuously damage all that touch them, highlighted in the signature Thunder Cage attack. However, with all of this said, it is also noted that these Pokémon are actually unable to use their full power, as it seems that, in ancient times, people that were terrorized by these mechanical speed demons managed to capture and fit most, if not all of them, with special insulating coils around their lower bodies and limbs that help to restrain their power by not readily conducting an electrical current, making them safer to deal with and approach. If these rings are ever removed, though, these creations will be able to release their latent power, and there is no telling what might happen if such a thing were to come to pass. As far as the stats are concerned, these automatons are rather fragile, with the base defense and special defense stats being below average for fully evolved electric-type Pokémon, but the base special attack stat is about average, and all of the remaining base stats are above average for fully evolved Pokémon of their type. Moreover, they have the highest base speed stat out of all known Pokémon, making them a tricky contender to try and outmaneuver in any combat scenario. On the other hand, Regidrago possesses a body form that is made entirely out of crystallized draconic energy, a substance that is surprisingly stable but incredibly hard to produce, with only Regigigas being able to make large quantities of it, and even then, not as much as one might imagine. The bodies of these creatures are said to contain the distilled essence of nearly every type of dragon-type Pokémon to ever exist, with the energy being at its densest in their core, and the magnificently colored bodies demonstrate this beautifully.
However, it is important to note that their oddly shaped upper appendages have their unusual look because, as it is said in legend, these automatons are actually incomplete.
It is said in Galarian legend that Regigigas intended to make an entire dragon out of this crystallized energy, but found it was unable to complete more than the head before it ran extremely low on materials. So in order to at least give it some semblance of completion, the head was altered and turned into Regidrago, allowing it to function even though it is only a head. This theory has not been entirely proven, but it is the best explanation available behind their odd forms. Plus, it explains why they were sealed away, as it is thought the ancient people believed that the automatons would rain terrible destruction across the land if they were ever completed. As far as what this does for them combat-wise, the sheer amount of draconic energy coursing through their bodies grants these creatures an impressive ability in Dragon's Maw, which gives an automatic 50% damage boost to the power of its dragon-type attacks. And in addition, these creatures can levitate in the air and use their arms to form the head they were meant to be in order to fire off their signature Dragon Energy attack, a move of incredible power that draws from their very life force to annihilate all that stand in their way. Their base stats, however, do not completely reflect this, but that is mainly because of the excessive power of Dragon-type Pokémon in general. The only base stat of theirs that is above average for a fully evolved Dragon-type Pokémon is the base HP stat, but this particular stat is incredibly high, so it helps to make up for their shortcomings. As a whole, Regidrago might be incomplete, but they are still devastating weapons of destruction that can more than make good use of their type and moves to obliterate anything that isn't a fairy-type Pokémon.
Alright, that should wrap up this episode of the V.T.P. and be the end of the analysis of the new alterations discovered through the exploration of the more isolated parts of the Galar region. Stay tuned for more information on the world of Pokemon on the next episode of the V.T.P. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Untitled and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Untitled and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.